offenses, acts described as all other acts that tend to defeat the purpose of competitive bidding, they shall be subjected to an administrative penalty. These offenses, acts are further classified into three major categories as enumerated below as per DO 28 series of 2024, which is the classification of offenses that triggers the three-strike policy and exceptions. Number 1, withdrawal from bidding process, submission of a non-participation letter, or failure to submit a bid after purchasing the bid documents. However, the Bids and Awards Committee (BAC) recognizes certain valid reasons for these actions. If upon computation prior to bid submission, the bidder determines that their proposed bid price will exceed the approved budget for the contract ABC, to substantiate this, the bidder must provide evidence. Acceptable proof includes, but not limited to, a detailed budget estimation or a market price report. Number 2, submission of late bids without valid reasons as determined by the BAC. Exceptions will be considered under extraordinary circumstances such as force majeure. This refers to unexpected and avoidable external events that impede or prevent a bidder from timely bid submission as defined in Article 1174 of the Philippine Civil Code. Number 3, submission of patently insufficient bid. A patently insufficient bid refers to a bid that fails to include or comply with certain mandatory requirements. The determination of whether a bidder committed such an offense may occur as outlined below. Letter A, during eligibility screening and or shortlisting. I, submission of an expired certificate of Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System, PhilJEP registration, platinum membership, or a certificate of PhilJEP certification containing expired Class A legal and financial documents as determined during the eligibility screening. Number 2, failure to include certificate of employment, contract agreement among permanent personnel and staff of the firm, and curriculum vitae in the application for eligibility. Letter B, during bid evaluation. Number 1, failure to submit required bid forms as outlined in Annex C, detailing the complete list of required bid forms. Number 2, submission of incomplete, insufficient, or defective documents due to non-inclusion and or omission of mandatory provisions and statements for the required bid forms as per Annex C, outlining the mandatory provisions of required forms. Number 3, submission of an unauthorized bid securing declaration, an omnibus sworn statement, and joint venture agreement or statements from all the potential joint venture partners, with the exception during the declaration of state of calamity or implementation of community quarantine or similar restrictions declared or being implemented either in the locality of the procuring entity or of the bidder. Number 4, submission of the bid form, price schedules, bid securing declaration, omnibus sworn statement, and joint venture agreement without the name, legal capacity, and signature of the bidder or its authorized representative. Number 5, nomination of key personnel of a profession different from what is required by the bidding documents. Number 6, failure to submit proof of ownership, lease, or purchase agreement of pledged equipment. Number 7, failure to submit the required certification of key personnel as per Department Order Number 9 Series of 2012. Number 8, failure to comply with the required minimum number of key personnel and equipment as stated in the bidding documents, letter C, during post-qualification. Participation in bidding of infrastructure projects by a bidder whose allowable range of contract costs ARCC as indicated on the PTAB license does not match with the specific requirements of the infrastructure project being bid for in terms of category, classifications, and size ranges. Roman numeral number 3. This is the enforcement and penalties. If a bidder commits any of 3 major offenses, acts listed above 3 times within a year, starting from the approval date of the resolution recommending the imposition of strike 1, first warning, which is counted as day 1 through day 365, and if these 3 offenses are of a similar or identical nature, it will trigger the enforcement of the stipulated administrative penalty, suspension from participating in all DPWH procurement activities and entering into contract with any DPWH procuring entity. Subsequently, as per the procedure outlined in Annex A, this may result in the blacklisting of the suspended bidder, thereby disqualifying the bidder from participating in any government procurement activities for a period of 1 year. In conjunction with blacklisting, the bidder will face bid security forfeiture and must comply with the enforcement of the bid securing declarations condition. In more severe instances, when a bidder commits another set of 3 similar offenses or more than 2 sets of 3 similar offenses, instances with more than 6 similar offenses occur within the said 1 year time frame, the bidder may be subjected to an increased penalty resulting in blacklisting for a period of 2 years. The effective duration for the penalty of either 1 or 2 years applicable will be clearly stipulated in the blacklisting order, with the provision that the duration of blacklisting shall not exceed a minimum period of 2 years, commencing on the date of blacklisting is approved and issued by the Secretary. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Engineer Tero. Prospective bidders, please be careful. Read all instruction. Understand and comply so that you will not commit any offenses that will constitute a 3-strike policy. Next, we will now proceed to the last agenda, the summary and proceeding, including supplemental bid bulletin to be issued, to be presented by Engineer Leslie Gulito.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All the needed information were discussed and explained by the resource persons. I would like to remind the prospective bidders to visit from time to time the DPWH and Projects websites, especially within 7 calendar days prior to the deadline of the submission of bids for supplemental or bid bulletins to be issued thereof. Please also be reminded that the submission of bids on or before November 5, 10 o'clock p.m. Late bids shall not be accepted. Bid opening will be on November 5, 10:15 p.m. That's all, Madam Chair. 10 o'clock p.m.
Thank you, Engineer Gulito. May also remind the prospective bidders regarding the Department Order Number 148 Series of 2024, Guidelines of the Accreditation and Assignment of Contractors and Consultant Project Engineers, relative to the full implementation on assigning only qualified and competent project engineers of the contractors and consultant in the implementation of the DPWH project. This order shall supersede Department Order number 118 series of 2024. Also, we have a Department Order number 110 series of 2024. Implementation of ISO 9001-2015 certification requirements for the large A, medium B, and medium A contractors in the procurement of infrastructure projects of the department. For the pickup size range, large A, allocable range of the contract cost more than 300 million but less than 450 million, effectivity of January 1, 2025. The medium B, more than 150 million but less than 300 million, effectivity July 1, 2025. And medium A, more than 30 million but less than 150 million, the effectivity is January 1, 2026. All of the business in the agenda were already taken into consideration. May I know the pleasure of the body?
I move to adjourn this briefing conference.
Second motion.
It has been moved by Engineer Jacob and seconded by Engineer Samon, and with no objection, the motion to adjourn this conference is hereby approved. The conference is now adjourned. Thank you for coming.